This season, I set out with a very specific goal. I wanted a deck that could consistently go second, break boards, and end games quickly. A deck that did not rely on winning the coin flip, a deck that could fight through disruption and still close games decisively. And that deck brought me all the way to Master. This is Fiendsmith Burst. As the name implies, this is a blind, second OTK deck. Every hand trap, every interruption, every piece of friction is there to slow the opponent down just enough for Fiendsmith to end the game in a single turn. The core of the deck is the Fiendsmith engine, and the reason I chose it over other OTK engines like Sky Striker or Tenpai is simple. It is incredibly compact. The entire engine is only 5 main deck cards. That means almost the entire rest of the deck can be dedicated to hand traps, disruption, and board-breaking tools. And even better, the engine barely bricks. Even the worst possible Fiendsmith brick can still be normal summoned and converted into a full combo. Nothing truly feels dead. At the center of it all is Fiendsmith Engraver. This single card represents a full OTK. On its own, it converts into enough material, recursion, and attack power to close games immediately. But Engraver is not alone. Cards like Fiendsmith Lacrima allow you to extend, recycle, and maintain pressure, especially with the Link monsters Requiem and Sequence, which allow you to recursively gain advantage should the OTK fail. And Agnum Day and the Fusion Lacrima are the main beaters for this OTK. One of the most important cards in the extra deck is Moon of the Closed Heaven. This card is the bridge. Any 2 monsters immediately become full Fiendsmith combo. And this is why so many cards in the deck focus on not only disrupting the opponent, but also putting bodies on the field. That is where cards like the Bysteals come in. Magnum Hut, Druis Worm, Saronir, and Baldrake all serve multiple purposes. They disrupt the opponent, remove graveyard resources, and most importantly, summon themselves. Every time one of them hits the field, they are not just interrupting the opponent, they are becoming combo material. And the fact that they are level 6 also plays really well for Hopier. Branded Regained adds another layer. It allows you to recycle your banished monsters and draw cards, giving the deck real grind potential. This is extremely important in games where the OTK is not immediately possible. The K9 package serves a similar purpose. This is the latest addition to the deck. Izuna and Lupus allow you to access Ripper turn 0 from your opponent's activation in the hand, which is all the rage right now in the meta. Vanquished Soul, Habakiri, Yummy, Dracotail, and K9 are all meta decks that have starters that activate in the hand. Even in your turn, if they have 2 cards in hand, this single normal summon turns into 2 bodies, and you know what 2 bodies mean. And Ripper as well can protect your Fiendsmith line since it is very vulnerable to hand traps. Not to mention the bonus +1 Ripper casually gives when it survives to your turn. It is a small package, but it dramatically increases consistency. Then there is Super Polymerization. This card is one of the strongest board-breaking tools available. It cannot be responded to, removes multiple threats instantly, and converts your opponent's monsters into your own combo pieces. Mudragon can then offer targeting protection for your Fiendsmith, and Garura represents a draw and is also a level 6 body. But what truly defines this deck is the sheer number of hand traps. Ash Blossom, Ghost Bell, Effect Veiler, Mulch Armies, Retaliating Sea, Hopier Squadron, Gamma. This deck does not try to stop the opponent completely, it only needs to slow them down enough. Every negate forces interaction, every interruption forces commitment, and every commitment makes the eventual OTK easier. Hopier Squadron in particular is extremely powerful here. It allows you to synchro summon during your opponent's turn, turning Bestials into Baron de Fleur via the Axel Stardust line. And let me tell you, sometimes summoning a Baron turn 0 is enough to just scare your opponent. And sometimes they do not even read and attempt to Nibiru or even more hilariously try to Twyfon, only to scratch their head as nothing happens, since that Baron is unaffected. Which brings me to my favorite 2-card combo this deck produces, a Hopier Squadron and a PSI frame. Driver being a level 6 means just like the Bysteals, you can access the XL line this way after having already negated one of their cards. And not only does that save the Driver from being banished, but it also ends with 1 extra level 2 tuner on the field. This means that if you negate using Baron during their turn, when it passes back to your turn, You can activate the effect of Baron to bounce herself back into the extra deck, summon a Stardust in your GY, and then synchro that off again into Baron, refreshing her Omni Negate. And then there is even Black Rose Dragon. If they put a stop to your K9 package, you can still convert that into a turn 0 board wipe. In many games, your opponent is forced to play through an unexpected Omni Negate before your turn even begins. And this is the real philosophy of the deck. Stop your opponent in their tracks. Then when your turn comes around, you do not rush into Fiendsmith immediately. You bait first. You let the opponent spend their cards that do not matter. You let them believe they are safe. And then when their resources are exhausted, you resolve Engraver or you link 2 bodies into Moon. And the game ends. Of course, the deck is not perfect. Fiendsmith is more vulnerable to disruption than some other OTK engines. That is why sequencing is critical. Knowing when to commit and when to bait is the difference between winning and losing. Secondly, there are a lot of cards you would not like to see in your opening hand. While there is only one true brick in the deck, cards like Lupus, Regained, and even the Fiendsmith engine itself can sometimes feel bad in your hand, which is why this deck has 45 cards. Another quirk you might notice in my deck building is the number of 2-ofs in the deck. This is because I am trying to strike a balance between consistency and hand variance. A second copy of another card is a brick most of the time, so to minimize that risk, I play mostly 2-ofs. There are 3-ofs, of course, things like Ash, Azuna, Superpolymerization, Hopier, etc., because that is what the deck is designed around. This deck, in my opinion, is easy. You can play without memorizing any complicated combo lines. When piloted correctly, the deck is incredibly consistent, incredibly explosive, and incredibly satisfying to play. This deck carried me all the way to Master Rank this season, and it did so while going second, breaking boards and ending games decisively. If you enjoy going second, dismantling established boards, and winning through precise sequencing and resource management, Fiendsmith Burst is one of the most rewarding decks you can play. And honestly, there is nothing quite like ending the game with an Agnum Day revive of Lacrima.